So, we are going to talk today about what to do when one of your kids hits the other one kind of out of the blue. So, this happened to me when I was a mom of a kiddo who was 3 and 1.5. My kids are now 8 and 5. So, it doesn't happen as much because really a lot of this has to do with impulse control when we're hitting, kids are hitting. Just let me tell you the story of what happened, okay? If you have questions, feel free to put them in to the comments and I'll answer them. So this is what happened. I was at home with my 3-year-old and my 1.5-year-old. We were playing in the playroom and my husband came in the door. And he was saying hello to me and to my 1-year-old. And my 3-year-old walked by out of the blue. We'd been having a great afternoon. Everything had been good. She walked by and just boosh, shoved her sister over. Just sister didn't do anything. Nothing was happening. Just boosh, shoved her over. And and we were like, whoa, what happened? And so I don't know if that's happened to you before, where things are going well, and then all of a sudden there's some aggression between the siblings. And I want to just tell you what to do in that time when that's happening, and kind of explain what's going on too. So the first thing what you do is check and make sure that the kiddo who got hurt is okay. Comfort them, console them, help them. Understand, that none of this is an emergency. Sometimes it can be really triggering to see one of our kids be aggressive towards the other kid, and this is something I wasn't prepared for as a mom to two. The way that I would, like, the mama bear would come out of me when I felt like I needed to protect the little one from the big one. It's a very strange, there's some very big dissonance that comes up, but it can definitely be a trigger. So stay calm, reassure yourself that this is all developmentally normal for siblings. This is all a normal stuff that's happening. Help the one who's hurt. And then while you're doing that, also tap into compassion for the one who did the shoving or did the kicking or the hitting. Remember that a hitting child is often a hurting child. That hit comes from a lack of impulse control and probably some big feelings that are bubbling and hanging out under the surface. So tell me if this has happened to you or with your siblings or other kids maybe that you've worked with, where perhaps it seems like it's out of the blue. Things are going good and that shove just happens. So when that happens, we comfort the little one, and we also start tapping into compassion and start getting clear on, like, what's going on for this other little one, the little one who did the hitting and is obviously hurting. Because, again, a hitting child usually is a hurting child, and it's so important to keep that in mind. And so what happened in this scenario, I started thinking about, like, what was going on. My husband had just come home. We'd been together all day. The three of us, the 3 girls and us, had been home, and my husband just came home, and he was paying really close attention to me and to my 1-year-old daughter. And I tried to put myself into my 3-year-old's shoes. She'd been away from dad all day. He'd just come home, and instead of saying hi to her at all, he was just talking to the little one. I can imagine in that scenario a flare, like a flood of jealousy coming up, hurt feelings, feeling lonely, maybe even feeling left out since the 3 of us were having an interaction and she was kind of on the outside of it. And whether those are reasonable or rational thoughts really doesn't matter, because she was 3, and 3-year-olds, we know, are not rational beings, right? And so when that flood of jealousy came in, that flood of not feeling she's being paid attention to, maybe loneliness, and this is all just guessing, right? We don't know for sure what's going on for her, but I'm just guessing, and these are pretty, reasonable guesses, right? When that flood comes in, and for a child who has very little impulse control, very little rational thinking ability, because the front of their brain hasn't developed yet, and that's where all of that lives, that flood of feelings comes in, and they push, they shove, they hit, they kick without even thinking about it. And it really has nothing to do with how the child really feels about their sibling. My girls love each other. They loved each other then too. But that doesn't mean that you can't feel jealousy. Human beings are capable, even very young, of having very mixed feelings, very complex feelings and emotions. And even our littlest ones can love their sibling and hate them all at the same time, or be flooded with momentary negative feelings. And because they don't have that impulse control, they can't stop themselves from shoving. And so as I was thinking about this in the moment, I realized this happens when The little one is getting some attention, maybe getting some enjoyment, getting some pleasurable connecting interaction between the parents, or it happens when the parents are busy, like when my husband and I are making dinner and they are playing great, and then all of a sudden the little one's crying because the big one has hit them. And I started connecting these dots that she was doing this to get connection time with me. And I know that these behaviors get labeled as like attention seeking behaviors. And I really don't see it that way. Most of the time when kids have behaviors that like this, these negative behaviors, oftentimes they're seeking connection with us. And I really, like, we started to figure out, like, we noticed these patterns and figured out that in those moments, what she really needed was some one-on-one time with one of her parents. And so not in the moment, outside of the moment, later that day, after we read a story at bedtime, we thought back on it, what happened. I said, hey, remember when Daddy came home and he was talking to Evie and me, and then you walked by and you kind of shoved her down? Do you remember that? And she remembered it. And I said, I was thinking that maybe you were feeling kind of left out, and maybe that you needed a little bit of time just with Mommy or just with Daddy. What do you think? And she nodded. And I was like, okay, so I was just thinking, like, sometimes when you get that big feeling to push and you can't stop yourself, I'm guessing that maybe in that moment what you really need is some time alone with Mommy or with Daddy, right? And so can we try just listening to your body, that when you get that big feeling to push Evie, that instead of pushing her, you say, hey, Mommy, Daddy, I need some alone time. And so then for the next, we made a plan then that when we saw her going to shove, then when she felt like the impulse to shove, when we saw it about to happen, that would be a clue to all of us, and we were all working to see the clue, her too, that she needed alone time. And so, like, if I saw her kind of walking and getting the hand ready to shove, I would get close and say, hey, I see you're about to shove. Do you need alone time? And I would not let the shove connect. There were times where we missed it. We didn't get there. Like, ooh, you just shoved Evie. Here, Daddy's going to help Evie. Do you need alone time with Mommy? And we still started helping her pair that desire to shove with what's really underneath it, right? So anger is a secondary emotion, right? Anger bubbles up. It's what happens after we're feeling something softer, something more vulnerable, something that needs support, right? And so we were helping her get past that flare of anger that drives the hit and into the softer emotion, into the connection that she really needed. We helped her recognize that in her body, that flooding feeling, that pushing feeling was a call for more time with Mom or more time with Dad. And so we would see her then, she'd start to connect it. She would be like about to shove and stop herself and say, I need Mommy and Daddy alone time. I need Mommy alone time. And we would drop everything. In this period of time where she's really starting to learn and figure out and start to feel what it feels like to need connecting time with a parent, and her body signals, we dropped everything. The second she said, I need Mommy alone time, turn off the stove, away we go. Put Evie in her safe place if I'm alone with them, and away we go to alone time, even if it's just a couple minutes, but just to keep that pairing with her, that I get the urge to hit, I recognize I have the need for alone time with one of my parents, and I get it with my partner or with my parent. I ask for it, I don't hit, and I get it. And so really recognizing the underlying need is so important. So this question came up because a mom in my parenting group on Facebook, Balanced Parenting Community on Facebook. If you're not in there, I hope you come and join us. Today is Wednesday. It's Welcome Wednesday. This is when we let everybody in for the week. So if you join now, you'll get in with us. But this came up because this mom was watching TV with her kids, and they were having a snack and watching TV together, and they were so cute. And so she pulled out her phone to film them. And the 1-year-old turned around and looked and smiled, and out of nowhere, the 3-year-old shoved the 1-year-old off the couch. And I mean, of course, she went to check on the 1-year-old, but she didn't know what to do in those moments. And those moments tell me that child's needing connection. That a hitting, a shoving, a kicking child really is a hurting child. And we have to look under the surface. These behaviors are just the tip of the iceberg. What we see is very rarely the whole story. Oftentimes there's something under it. So we need to get down to what is the need that's under it. And most of the time, especially for little ones who have a new sibling, even if the sibling is only only, is older is one, we have to remember that as the little one grows, it's the experience of the older one, it's like they're getting a whole new sibling at each developmental stage, right? So at first they're adjusting to sharing time and attention as the baby is little and we're spending a lot of time feeding and getting the baby to sleep. Then the baby becomes mobile and they have this whole new sibling that they have to negotiate and navigate, having baby sister or baby brother in their stuff and in their things. And then the baby starts to walk. And just when our older one starts to get used to this new kid, like there's a whole different one doing all sorts of new different things. And so we have to remember that the sibling relationship goes through phases and transitions as the little one gets older, and new feelings come up, new skills bubble up, and it's so important to do that, to be aware of that. All right, so I feel like I missed some comments coming in here. Allison says, what if the younger sibling would lose it in their safe place? My 16-month-old is a climber and is only truly safe in the pack and play, and I rarely use it as he will scream the whole time. I think that, that's hard. And so with the older one, I would make a plan for when they need the connection time and how to get it in a way that that the little one can handle. So perhaps there is something that the older one usually doesn't like the little one to play with, something that is safe for them, that perhaps the older one can give to the little one while they're having their alone time with a parent. Dividing and conquering, if you have two caregivers available, is always a good idea. And if we're just talking about having like a couple minutes to cuddle and snuggle in another room, just the two of us, a younger sibling can withstand that. They can take that stress. It's just momentary. The reconnection is going to happen. They're going to be snuggled up and reconnected too. It's okay sometimes. It's hard to balance the needs of two kiddos. And I know lots of you have even more kiddos than that at home. And it is hard to balance all of those things. But we can wait. It's okay. It's okay to sit in the discomfort of waiting too. That's an important life skill as well that kids can develop even when they're young. So gating off an area. I do want to get you creative. Think like we have a very open concept house too. So if you want to take a tour of my playroom, I do show where I used to gate things off and where I would gate things off if my house was smaller too. But even just taking one of those gates that is like a long string of gates that you can put in an octagon and gating one portion of the wall off so that it's almost like a rectangle, can be a great way to get a 1-year-old some play space. They don't really need a lot, and if they've got their beloved things in there, can be really helpful. And if they're climbers, of course, like take couch cushions and push it around. And an older sibling can be involved in getting a space set up for a younger sibling too, which can make the younger sibling feel really loved. Most of the time, younger siblings really look up to older siblings. They love them. They think that they are these amazing, super competent, think people that they look up to. And the idea that their older sibling is creating a fun space that's just for them for while they have this time alone with mom can be super lovely for them. And then it makes it a space that they want to be in because the act of setting it up for them was a loving act on the part of the older sibling. So, I mean, these are things that we can, even with young children, we can be helping them understand each other's needs and perspectives and working it out together. I mean, I started helping my kids collaborative problem solve as soon as my little one was verbal, because they need these skills. Okay, you want some time with mommy and you want time with mommy. What should we do? What's your idea? Big one, what do you think? Like, what could make it easier for little one to wait? If little one doesn't want to wait, what could make it easier for little one to wait? Maybe there's, you don't normally let her play with your stuffy that you sleep with every night. Could she snuggle your stuffy that you sleep with every night while you snuggle me? Could that work? Oh, it could. Okay, let's try it out and see what she thinks. So you're scaffolding those interactions between the two of them. And I think these are all good skills to be building, but really what I wanted to convey today in this video, and I don't have a lot of time because I've got a client that's starting soon, is that there's always something under a hit. There's always something under them. the shove, the kick, the aggression that we see between siblings, it doesn't say anything about your parenting. It doesn't even say anything about their sibling relationship or how they actually feel about their sibling. All it really says is that something's going on for that kid. A hitting kid is a hurting kid. Something's bubbling under the surface that they need help and support with. Not punishment, not consequences, not timeouts. I mean, the logical consequence of kids having a hard time navigating space together is that a parent is there with them, a caregiver is there with them. They go in their separate spaces where they can be, they can be separated. And then, like maybe if there's a toy that gets thrown, that toy needs to be put away until a parent can be there and be safe with them. Not as a punishment, not as a threat, but just as we're not using this toy safely right now. And so until I can be here and make sure it gets used safely, it needs to go here. Oh no. Shoot. Sorry. Are we back? Did that work? I have screen time limits set on my phone, and so we just froze on Instagram. Sana is saying, any advice on how to manage an outburst, like out of control outburst of madness, throwing, hurting. So when that's happening, you have to remember when your kids are hitting out, like having a big mad throwdown tantrum, we have to remember that they're not in a brain state where learning can happen. They're, if we think about, so their amygdala is shaped like this, right? This is where fight or flight is, and anger and stuff, all of those kind of more primal emotions are housed. And then we have our frontal cortex that kind of curves around. And for little ones, it's very underdeveloped. It's more like this. And when they're throwing, hitting, kicking, when they're really mad, really upset, having a tantrum, as Dan Siegel in The Whole Brain Child teaches us, that's a great book if you haven't read it, their lid is flipped. They flipped their lid, and we can't do really anything productive other than keeping them safe. I also really like how Dr. Bailey teaches this. That our brains have 3 levels. They have the survival brain that comes online first. We're born with it working. We have the emotional brain that comes online second. And then we have the executive brain that comes online third. So if they're mad, but they're still talking to you, they're in their emotional brain. If they are not talking, they're grunting, they're mad, they're throwing, they're down here. We need to move them back up through the levels, because the question that their brain is asking when they're down here is, am I safe? In the emotional brain, their brain is asking, am I loved? And this is where the social fighting that happens, like, you're stupid, that kids will say to their siblings or to you even, that's all happening in the emotional brain. And really what they're asking is, am I loved, when they say those things? So if we can just have good filters as the behavior is coming in, we have our filters set to change how we are perceiving it, to those questions. Am I safe? Am I loved? Do you love me even when I'm at my worst? No matter how many times I hit my brother, are you going to love me and accept me? They're asking all of those questions with those behaviors. And we, just like they're asking questions with behaviors, we have to answer those questions with our behaviors. Oh, I see you're having a hard time. I'm going to move you over here to keep your brother safe. I know. I'm going to pick up brother and put brother into his safe place so he doesn't hurt while I help you with your big feelings. Okay, here we go. Oh, you're mad. Or if they are super upset about, and don't want you to say things, I do have a video on why that happens too. If you check out my IGTV, then don't say anything. Sometimes my kids don't even like me to look at them when they're in this place. So on Facebook, we have a question. What if the other child hits back and fight starts? You get in there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right? So you come in. Whoa, 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 whoa. You separate. Oh, I see 2 kids using hard hands. What's going on? And so, I mean, we could talk about siblings forever. There's so much stuff, and I'm actually working with a colleague on putting together a sibling course. But we come in, we slow things down, we prevent any hitting. We understand that if 2 kids are hitting, both kids are hurting. And so we go to what's under the hitting. We start validating those emotions, those big feelings. We help the children see each other's perspective. Oh, you were using the toy, but you were using it before and you weren't done with it. And I'm wondering, I bet you didn't know she wasn't done with it. Okay, what should we do? Both kids want the toy. And you are helping them hold each other's realities at the same time. But preventing the fights, separating them. And sometimes siblings just need, just need time apart from each other. Oh, we're talking about a daycare classroom with Sana. So if these things happen, have oftentimes having the child who is having a hard time keeping their hands to themselves, they need that connection time, and a teacher can, or a caregiver in a daycare setting can get that by inviting them in to help them. Hey, come with me, I have a job for you. I was really hoping for help, and it looks like you could really help me right now, and bringing them into that. And that works with siblings too, if it's clear a little one needs a break and time away. And sometimes they do. Especially like right now, I don't know about you, but I, as an adult, am feeling like I need a break from my family at times. Like, am I alone in that? I don't think so. I don't think I'm alone at all in that. And so I do want you to just consider that the they're likely sick of each other too sometimes. That happens between siblings. It happens between partners. It at least it does for me, where I really need alone time and nobody to talk to me. And I'm getting way less than that right now. The other thing, Sana, that I just wanted to say, too, with that 4-year-old, I would be looking at when it's happening. So if, like, this is something I teach in my collaborative problem solving workshop that you can get right now, that's on sale in my birthday sale. So laurafroyen.com/birthday. It's at a really good price. But I'll go over it briefly here, but I do much more detail in that workshop, in that mini class. But we have to think about, like, our kids are all on a river, right? And at certain points, they get shunted off to the side into rapids. Okay, we need to figure out what it is that's shunting them off to the side. Once they're in the rapids, when their lid is flipped, they're done. They're unavailable for they're unavailable for problem solving. Once they're in the rapids, if we are attempting to they're drowning, they're in the rapids, they're drowning, and we're like, oh, just use your words, oh, here, like, we're on the shore giving them suggestions. It's not like, oh, what if you swim this way? Come over here. It's not going to work for them. They need a life raft at that point. They need us to throw them a life ring. They need us to get into the water with them and hold them, and as they ride it out, whatever they need to feel safe as they ride out those rapids. And when they're in the rapids, they are unavailable for problem solving. It's before what shunts them off to the side. And Sana, you're saying that it's transitions. Okay, first of all, we know that kids in the 3 to 5 range are terrible at transitions. Most kids have a hard time with transitions, but we also have to be super specific. What transitions? When is it hard? Is it hard with this one teacher on Tuesdays when dad worked all night, and he hasn't seen dad, and he has to come to school without having seen him? When is it hard? Is it hard when he's working with the red ball and he has to put it away before moving to the next transition? We have to get super clear on when those transitions are, what's happening, and so that we can get upstream and find out, like, what's shunting him off. What exactly about it is shunting him off to? So perhaps things move too quickly. Perhaps, he wasn't ready. We have to find that out. And the only person who really knows that is the kid. And since they're 4 is a great time to start with gentle, supportive problem solving. And the big thing, though, is if it's at predictable times, there's these landmines throughout our day. If we have explosive kids, and you know what I'm talking about, or difficult kids, or spirited kids, or challenging kids, or strong-willed kids, whatever label you want to put on them. There are these landmines throughout the day that we know predictably that are going to go off. We can almost map it out, right? And we know where they're coming. If we know where they're coming, we can be proactive, we can get ahead of them, and we can problem solve those. So I think that I think it's really important to learn how to do that effectively too, though. So that's why I made this workshop. The problem solving piece of it, there are a lot of very common errors that parents make that shut kids down, that make kids say, like, well, I don't know, or I don't have a problem with that, or no. Just no, I'm not talking about it. So I do, in that course, I teach you how to get kids talking, how to help, and really what that is about how you word the questions, where your focus is. So I really would recommend my problem solving workshop. It's on sale. I think it's like $30 right now with my birthday sale. That's still on it through Monday, but that one I think will really help you. You can also check out the book, The Explosive Child, which I think for the first time I don't have like directly on my desk. So I wasn't expecting to get into the problem solving piece of it. Really, what I wanted to help you with is understanding that when those shoves come out of nowhere, they're not really out of nowhere. When our kids kind of hit or kick or shove their little brothers, we have to help the little one first, help them feel better, but then help the other one too. We can understand that a hitting child really usually is a hurting child. There's usually something under there, and help them start recognizing their body's signals that's telling them that something's not right, that they have something going on, and asking for it with words or with other gestures than just the shoving. So just like when my daughter, was 3 and she walked by and shoved her sister down, her 1-year-old sister down, she was saying, I need time alone with mom and dad. And we just taught her what that felt like in her body, that we spoke with her about it. We said, when you feel like hitting Evie, you probably just need to hang out with mom or dad. You just need some alone time. And so you can just ask for it. And then we just dropped everything for a while. No matter what we were doing, if she said, I'm about to hit Evie, can I have mommy alone time? We just dropped everything. And she got it, to teach her that. And as she got older and got more practice at it, she could wait longer. But at 3, you can't wait very long. You're impulsive, right? You have a shorter fuse. You have less self-regulation. And so she needed us to be pretty immediate with that. So I would love if you try that out with your kiddos, please tell me, let me help you troubleshoot it. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope that this was helpful. So if you're just jumping in now, this will be in the replay on IGTV if you're here on Instagram with me, and it'll live on my Facebook page too. So I hope that this was helpful. I love answering your questions. Please, feel free always to send me a message if you have more. I love hearing from you. And if this is a topic you want to hear more about, the sibling stuff, please let me know. I'm always happy to talk about it. I love sibling stuff. I'm so the sibling relationship is a very interesting, complicated thing that I'm really loving see blossom in my kids as they struggle with it too. Understanding that, that it's a relationship, so there's ups and downs in it, and it's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be conflict, and those conflict, those are beautiful opportunities for growth and learning, for deeper understanding of the people that we love. And for them too, helping them see it that way, that when they have a conflict with each other, that's an opportunity to understand each other better, to connect with each other better, that we don't have to be scared of conflicts. And, this approach too has helped my kids so much that most of the time, if I try to get in the mix in their disagreements, they tell me to go away because I'm not helping. I'm getting in the way. So I love that. That feels like I'm doing an okay job. All right, I've got to run to a consult, everybody. And so let me know if you have any questions. Catch the replay. And yeah, I'm always here to support you. This question came directly out of my balanced parenting community. One parent was struggling with it. And so if you have a struggle that's ongoing, put it in there. And if I can, I'll make you a video too. All right, bye.